Welcome back to JustScribble for a full flip through of plans by JustScribble. Before we get into the flip, I do want to cover a few admin items. First, I do have a full reveal video of our 2025 launch, including our notebooks, blank and lined, and also our planners. So I will link that in the cards up above, and I'll also put a link in the description box down below. Second, a few people have asked if we're going to be offering clear covers for our planners, and the short answer to that is no, we are not. Our planner, one volume of our planner, is roughly the same size as an A5 full year Stalogy. So it is the same width and height and pretty much the same thickness. So any clear cover or jelly cover you have that fits an A5 Stalogy or is designed for an A5 Stalogy should work for our planner. But I will be doing a video sharing different clear covers and jelly covers and how they fit on our planner, so that you'll have some ideas on where you can shop to pick one up if you want a clear cover for your planner. Third, I did share in our reveal video that our 2025 planners and notebooks will be in Sanzen Tomoe River paper. We are planning on using 68 GSM Tomoe River paper for our 2025 products, and I'm going to be doing a separate video sharing the 68 GSM sample paper that I received when I got my sample books. In that video, I'll be doing pen tests to show how it performs, because this is Sanzen's first batch of 68 GSM Tomoe River paper. And then lastly, as I discussed in a little bit of detail in the reveal video, some of the samples that I had made are made out of 52 GSM Tomoe River paper, and some of the samples are made on 80-pound paper. Producing a sample book, whether it's a planner or a notebook, costs significantly more than the retail cost you would pay for a planner. And producing one on Tomoe River paper is even more expensive because it has to be made on a special press. And because of the press that's used and the amount of work that's required to create a sample on the press, most TRP planner samples only have the first signature printed, and then the rest is plain TRP, which is what our TRP sample is. The first signature is printed with samples of each of the spreads from our planner, and then the rest is plain TRP. But I wanted to be able to do full flip-throughs of our planners because we do have a very unique and distinct setup and organization to our planners. And so I had full planner samples printed on 80-pound paper with a digital printer. This means that the paper in the samples that I'm going to flip through is much whiter than the white TRP that we're using in our actual products. And you can kind of see that here, how much whiter it is. It actually makes the TRP look cream. It also means that our samples, the ones that we're going to flip through, which are here, are significantly thicker than the actual product that you're going to get. So this planner, the one in the front that's the same size, basically as a full year Stalogy, that is how thick your volumes are going to be. But the one I'm flipping through is a lot thicker because it was printed on 80-pound paper. It also means that the printing quality is just not as good because the 80-pound paper sample was printed with a digital printer. So the main difference really lies in the grid and then also the shaded areas. So I'm going to show you guys a difference in the printing. So this is how it prints on the digital printer, and then this is how it prints the same spread with the press that's going to be used in the final product. So you can see that the grid printing and then also the shading on the digital printed copy is not as high quality as what's on the TRP, which is what the actual product you're going to get is. So I wanted to share this with you because I want you to keep in mind as I'm flipping through these planners that what you're seeing as far as the grid and the shading is not what you're going to see in your actual product that you receive. The purpose of printing these samples on the 80-pound paper with the digital printer was so that I could walk you through the organization and layouts of our planners because it is so uniquely different than other planners on the market. And I wanted to make sure that I could share that with you guys. But the print quality on what you're going to receive is going to be far superior to what we're flipping through today. And it's going to look like this, not like this. Also, while we're going through kind of explanations of things, I will show you the paper color. So the paper that we're using, like I said, is going to be Tomoe River paper, and it is white Tomoe River paper. But when you look at Tomoe River paper on a screen, depending on your screen, sometimes it can come off kind of a little bit yellow. And then if you're comparing it against like the 80-pound paper, it looks cream. But this paper is white Tomoe River paper, and this is an RS Stell. They also use white Tomoe River paper, and so you can see that the paper that we're using is the same. It is the white Tomoe River paper. And then this is an example of a cream paper. And you can see when I compare that this is cream and this is white. So I did want to show that because I know on the screen it can come off a little bit more cream colored, and I didn't want anyone to be confused on what color paper we're using. So we are using white Tomoe River paper. So I have already done a video on the vertical planner flip, and now I'm going to be doing one on the horizontal planner. The organization and layouts in both planners, the vertical and the horizontal, are identical except for the weekly layout and one difference on the dailies. So I'm going to be going through the horizontal in this video, but if you watch the vertical, a lot of what you see is going to be exactly the same. Our planners do come in a 2-volume set. So you have volume 1 that contains January through June and volume 2 that contains July through December. They come in our almond cover, and all the writing on the outside of the cover is in rose gold. On the front of the cover, it has the name of our planner, which is Plans, and at the bottom on the front, it has the year, 2025, the style, in this case horizontal, and then the volume, so volume 1 and volume 2. And on the spine, it also says the year, 2025, volume 1 and volume 2. And then on the back, it says designed by JustScribble. Our planners do lay flat, although I will say in the actual product, the Tomoe River paper planner, it lays a little bit better than it does in the 80-pound samples. But our planners do lay flat, and they are super soft and pliable and flexible, and oh, I just love them. There are 352 pages in each volume, so each of these books has 352 pages. The entire planner is page numbered, and it does feature a 4mm grid. So let's start with volume 1. When you open up the planner, you do have white end papers. We have white end papers in all of our planners and notebooks. And then when you turn the page, the first page of the planner in volume 1 says the one with my plans, and then it has a place for your key at the bottom. When you turn the page, you go into the first real spread, which is our yearly overview. On the left-hand side, you have a 2025 calendar, and on the right-hand side, you have a future planning section for the first 4 months of the next volume. So this is volume 1 that covers January through June. So you have the first 4 months of volume 2, July, August, September, and October, to future plan for any events and appointments that get scheduled while you're in this volume for the next volume. When you turn the page, you go into the perpetual calendar. The perpetual calendar in the book covers the months that are in that book. So since this is volume 1 and covers January through June, the perpetual calendar covers January through June. There's a space to write at the top and a space to write at the bottom, and then it is dated down the side, and the weekends are shaded. When you turn that page, you go into the annual section. It starts with a plain white page on the left-hand side that you can use for your word of the year, a vision board, whatever you want. And then you have your 2025 preview page. All of the preview pages for the year, the quarters, and the months look the same. They have 3 boxes at the top and then a grid section at the bottom. When you turn the page, you go into our annual goals section. All of our goal sections in the planner are designed in the same way. They have 4 boxes on each page with a header box at the top. After the annual goals section, you go into the quarterly section. It starts once again with a plain white page, so you could set up a vision board or a mood board for the quarter or do whatever you wanted. And then you have a preview for quarter 1 with the empty boxes at the top and then a grid at the bottom. When you turn the page, you go into your quarter 1 goals in that same format, 4 boxes on each page. You turn that page, you go into the trackers. Since this is the quarter 1 section, it does have the trackers for quarter 1. So you have January, February, and March. You have a place to track things that you track weekly and also a place to track things that you track daily. There's a place to write down what you're tracking here, and then there's a grid section at the bottom so that if you need additional lines to track, you could track additional lines this way. If you wanted to do a 1 through 31 down this way and track additional items, you could. If you wanted to do a line graph, a bar graph, even a tracking in pixels, you could do that in this section as well. And then there's a grid page after the 3rd month of that quarter so that you can add graphs, you can add inspiration, you can make notes about your habits or what you're tracking, etc. I do want to mention that between now and the new year, I will be sharing sample spreads so you can see how some of these spreads can be used, and also giving ideas of different ways you can use some of these spreads to give you some inspiration. So you will see that both on the website and then also here on YouTube. When you turn the page from the tracker section, you go into the project planner. It has your 3 months on the left-hand side, and grid sections on the right-hand side for each of those months. The months are Monday start, just like this entire planner is. The entire planner is a Monday start, and they are dated. When you turn the page from there, you go into the months of this quarter. It starts with a grid page on the left-hand side, and then your monthly preview page on the right with your 3 boxes at the top, and then your grid at the bottom. When you turn that page, you go into our monthly, which, like I said, is a Monday start. You have a sidebar down the left-hand side. You have week numbers down the right-hand side so that they don't interfere with your functional space of your sidebar. And the entire month is dated. So the days of the week that relate to the previous month and the days of the week that relate to the next month are dated, but it is a lighter shade in the days of the month that you're in. Additionally, the line that divides Friday and Saturday is slightly darker than the lines that divide the rest of the days of the week to differentiate your weekend from your weekdays. When you turn the page, you have 2 blank grid pages. You can use this any way you want. You can use this for master to-do list. You could use this for getting things done. You could use this to draw a second monthly if you need 2 monthlies. You could use this for photos for memory keeping, whatever it is that you want. And then when you turn the page, you go into our weekly. So our horizontal weekly is very different, and it's something that I am completely in love with and did not expect to like as much as I do. And based on the feedback I've gotten from my reveal video, it sounds like you guys are really excited for it as well. I am going to show you this also in the TRP page, just because the printing is a little bit easier to see. But our horizontal layout does have Monday through Sunday here. And then you have a little bit of a space, and then you have a grid section down here that you can use for a continuation of your day, decor, anything you want. Then on the right-hand side, you have a focus box, a priorities box, a to-do list section, a grid section for notes, a habit tracker, and then 2 additional sections that can be used as trackers or as checklists. So if you wanted to use this for your workout schedule, you could put workout, and you could put Monday through Sunday, and then you could write your workouts for each day. Or if you needed this as a to-buy list, you could put to buy, and then you could put the things that you needed to buy, whatever it is that you want. And then the week number is indicated at the top. So this is the same layout in the digital print. So you have your week on this side and then your dashboard on that side. When you turn the page, you go into your daily pages. You have a grid page on the left-hand side so that Monday is always on your right-hand side. That also means that Saturday and Sunday are always on open-facing pages. So the daily pages are dated with both the day of the week and also the date. And they do have a timeline from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. in a 12-hour format in half-hour increments. So these are the 2 differences between the vertical and the horizontal. One is the weekly spread. So this is our horizontal spread. Our vertical spread is the traditional vertical spread. And the other difference is the daily pages for the horizontal have a timeline on them. You don't have a place to time block on your weekly spread. In the vertical planner, there is no timeline on the dailies because you already have a timeline on your vertical for time blocking. Throughout the planner, all of our plain grid pages do have a shaded box in the center so that you can divide your page horizontally or vertically or into quadrants. And then all of the months are thumb tabbed, which I don't remember if I showed you in this video, but they are all thumb tabbed. It's easier to see on the Tomoe River paper, high quality print. So each month is thumb tabbed so you can easily navigate through your book and also lay tabs. So you have your days of the week. So you have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And then you go into the next week, blank grid pages, the days of that week, and so on until the end of the month. Then you have a monthly recap, which is the opposite of our preview page. So the recap page has a grid at the top and 3 boxes at the bottom. And then the preview page has 3 boxes at the top and a grid at the bottom. So you'll have your January recap, then your February preview, then your February monthly, 2 blank grid pages, the first week of February, the days of that week, all the way through February until the end of February. Then you have your February recap, your March preview, and then your March monthly. March is one of the months in 2025 that goes into a 6th week. So March 31st is actually a Monday. So instead of splitting the monthly box in half, we added a 6th row. The only difference is the 6th row is 1 grid shorter. So our regular monthly boxes are 8 grid wide by 8 grid tall. On the 6th week, in any month that has a 6th week, it's 8 grid across and 7 grid down. So you have your March monthly. Then you have your 2 grid pages, and then you go into the weeks and days of March until the end of March, and then you have a March recap, and that marks the end of the first quarter. So then you have a quarter one recap. When you turn the page, you have the start of quarter two. So you have a blank page on the left side, and then your quarter two preview on the right. Then you have your quarter two goals. You have your trackers for quarter two, April, May, and June, and then a grid page. Then you have your quarter two project planner, April, May, June. Turn the page and you go into the first monthly section for Q2, which is April. So you have a blank grid page, and then you have an April preview page. You have the month of April. You have two blank grid pages. You go into the weeks and days of April until the end of April. You have April recap, May preview, May monthly, two blank grid pages, the weeks and days of May. Then you have your May recap, your June preview, your June monthly, two blank grid pages, and then the weeks and days of June. And then you have your June recap, your quarter two recap, and then you go into blank grid pages in the back. In the first volume, there are 11 grid pages in the back for notes and collections. Then the very last page says to be continued. It's a blank page that can be used for pen testing. And then the last page says don't forget to just scribble. And then you have the back of the book. So that is volume one. Volume two is virtually identical, but it covers quarters 3 and 4. So you have your white end papers, and then when you turn the page, you have the first page that says the one with more of my plans, and then you have your key. Turn that page, you have your yearly overview, 2025, once again on the left-hand side, and the first 4 months of the next volume for future planning on the right-hand side, which in this case would be volume 1 of 2026. So you have January, February, March, and April, and places to future plan for events and activities that get scheduled while you're in this volume for that one. When you turn the page, you have your perpetual calendar, July through December, since this book covers July through December. You turn the page and you have your annual pages, which are identical to the annual pages in volume 1. So you can copy over what you put in volume 1 if you wanted. You can reassess your goals and have a fresh start, or you can use this section for a completely different purpose in volume 2. When you turn the page, you have your annual goals, and then when you turn that page, you go into quarter 3. You have a blank page on the left, and then your quarter 3 preview on the right. Then you have your quarter 3 goals, your quarter 3 trackers, your blank grid page, and your project planner for quarter 3. Turn the page and you go into the months, weeks, and days of quarter 3. So you have a blank grid page on the left, and then on the right you have your July preview, then you have your July monthly, then you have 2 blank grid pages, you have your horizontal weekly, and then you go into the days of that week. Then you have the weeks and days of July. Then you have your July recap, your August preview, your August monthly, your 2 blank grid pages, and then you have your weeks and days of August. And then at the end of August, you have an August recap, a September preview, September monthly, 2 blank grid pages, and then you have the weeks and days of September. You have your September recap, your Q3 recap, and then you go into Q4. Blank page on the left-hand side, Q4 preview on the right. You have your Q4 goals, quarter 4 trackers, your blank grid page, your quarter 4 project planner, and then you go into the months, weeks, and days of quarter 4. So you have a blank grid page, and then you have the preview for October, the month of October, 2 blank grid pages, and then the weeks and days of October. Then you have your October recap, your November preview, your November monthly, your 2 blank grid pages, and then the weeks and days of November. Then your November recap, December preview, December monthly, 2 blank grid pages, and then you go into the weeks and days of December. Then you have your December recap, your Q4 recap, your yearly recap, and then you have 10 grid pages at the back for notes, collections, and what have you. Then your last page says the end, and it is blank for pen test, washi graveyard, whatever you want. The last page says don't forget to just scribble. Then you have your end papers and the end of the book. Each volume, like I said, has 352 pages. There are 50 blank grid pages in each volume, as well as the blank pages at the beginning of the annual and quarterly sections. So that is my detailed flip of the horizontal planner. This is the planner that I am the most proud of and the most excited about because I am really in love with my horizontal spread. I am very excited how it turned out. I also love the vertical and will be using both in my lineup in 2025, but I am really excited for this horizontal planner, and based on what you guys have commented, it seems like you guys are really excited for it too, which makes me very happy. But that is my share of the horizontal planner, my detailed flip. If you have any questions or comments, please don't hesitate to put them down below and I will definitely get back with you. Give me a thumbs up if you liked this flip through of the horizontal planner for 2025. Make sure that you're subscribed so you don't miss future videos, and don't forget to just scribble.